wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag. Cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his socks with diamonds up the sides. It was tickling my toes anyway, he said, as the fox snuggled into it. It made a very fine sleeping bag. Thank you, said the fox. So, the man gave his socks to the fox and it became the sleeping bag of the fox. George hopped on, singing to himself, my tie is scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat, my shoe is a house for a little white mouse, one of my socks is a bed for a fox, but look me up and down, I am the smartest giant in town. George came to a big, squeaky bog. Beside the bog stood a dog who was howling. What's the matter? Asked George. Then he sees a dog with a muddy puddle. Then George says, what's the matter? It's this bog, said the dog. I needed to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe dry path. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his smart new belt. It was squishing my tummy anyway, he said, as he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent path. Thank you, said the dog. Then he removed his belt and it made an excellent path for the dog, and the dog said, thank you. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself, my tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirts and boat for a goat, my shoe is a house for a little white mouse, one of my socks is a bed for a fox, my belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog, but my trousers are falling down. I am the coldest giant in town. Suddenly, his trousers fell down. Karina, pause. Suddenly, George felt sad and shivery and not at all smart. He stood on one foot and thought, I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes. He decided to, he turned around and hopped all the way back to the shop. But when he got there, it was closed. Oh no, cried George. He sank down onto the doorstep and a tear ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals he had met on his way home. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a bag with something familiar poking out of the top. George took a closer look. Now, he was so sad, so sad. My gown, he yelled, my dear old gown, and Snaddles George put them on. They felt wonderful, comfortable. I am the coziest giant in town. He cried and he danced back to along the road. Outside his front door stood and all the animals he had helped. They were carrying an enormous present. So, when he was going home at his doorstep, the all animals that he met were standing on the doorstep. Come on, George, they said. Open it. George untied the ribbon. Inside was a beautiful gold paper crown and a card. Look inside the card, George, said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. So he put the crown on his head and opened the card. Your tie is a scarf for a gold giraffe. Your shirt is a boat so as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white house. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giant in town. So the story ends here, and thank you. Good night, sweet dreams.